Howdy Canada, my name is Amir Tagunia and I sworn in as a Canadian citizen in October 2021. No, I did not migrate here. I was rescued by a group of Canadians from a tiny Pacific island called Manus in Papua New Guinea. I was detained for nearly 5 years for committing no crime but seeking asylum in Australia from a dictatorship. It has been 2 years that I am witnessing the same pattern that the Australian government implemented on 1,500 detainees on 2 islands in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, this time being implemented on Canadian citizens by our government. We have been divided. Vaccinated versus unvaccinated. Black versus white versus brown versus Asian versus natives. All for nothing but political agenda. Labeling, that's what it's called. We are hearing and experiencing some of the most polarizing times in the history of this country. Now that our citizens have realized that they have been used and abused and are standing up to gain back their freedom, they are being called names, being labeled and demonized. Guess what? It happened on Manus Island too. They called us terrorists while we were fleeing from terrorism. They called us agitators while we were unlawfully detained and treated worse than animals. Julian Burnside, an Australian barrister, once said, "If the government can do it to refugees and they get away with it, they will do it to their own citizens, if they can manage to get away with it." After 14 days of peaceful hunger strike, we were labeled as hostage takers and then were arrested, sent to another prison with no charges, and were tortured mentally and physically. Because the government was losing the battle. But they were able to justify it because they used their mainstream government-funded media and prepared people with their propaganda machines. I am seeing the same pattern here. They're calling one of the most diverse protests in the history of this country racist. They're calling men and women misogynists. And they are calling people who are demonstrating their constitutional rights for freedom, whose lives have been dictated daily, as fascists. Perhaps we should lend a dictionary to those making such remarks. Truckers, nurses, doctors, firefighters, police officers, ambulance drivers, and many other citizens with decades of expertise in their career have been fired or let go, just because they spoke about their Charter of Rights and are deciding over their own health and body. What has happened to our morals? Has this country been united like this ever before? Have Quebecois people ever felt as welcomed and close to the rest of the country like today? We stand together, and we are Canada together as a whole. Pay attention. It is not about right, left, or center. Our political system has been infiltrated and is being manipulated. Big pharmaceutical companies, media corporations, and big tech companies are now making decisions for us and are using our politicians to implement them. The very likely scenario is that. This pattern of control is only seen in countries that Canadians have fled from, said John Brassard. Canada, we have not built this country, nor have we achieved our democracy and Charter of Rights overnight. Do not let your paycheck take away your morale and values from you. We need to wake up. As a wise man said, you can wake someone who is asleep, but never the one who's pretending to be. Thank you.